going to talk about who pays what in taxes. And politicians exploit public ignorance. And there are few areas of public ignorance that provide as many opportunities for political exploitation, political demagoguery, than taxation. Today, so many politicians argue that the rich must pay their fair share and that they're not paying their fair share. But let's look at who pays what in taxes. According to the latest IRS statistics, it turns out that those taxpayers who have an adjusted income of close to $500,000 a year, they pay 39% of all federal income taxes. And so what that means is that 892,000 Americans are paying 39% of the federal income tax. It turns out that the top 10% of income earners, they pay 70.1% of all federal income taxes. So what that means is that about 1.7 million Americans, less than 1% of our population, pay 71% of federal income taxes. Is that fair? Namely, 1.7 million Americans paying 70% of federal income taxes. And by the way, they're not rich. That is, $500,000 a year hardly makes you rich. It's not even yacht money. But the fairness question goes even further. The bottom 50% of income earners, namely those having an adjusted gross income of $38,000 or less, they pay less than 3% of all federal income taxes. 37 million tax filers have no tax obligation at all. According to the Tax Policy Center, 45.3% of all households have absolutely no federal income tax liability. Now, that's a severe political problem. And why it's a severe political problem is that those people who have no federal income tax liability, what do they care about federal spending? What do they care about federal taxes? Because after all, they pay no taxes. The fact that so many households have no federal income tax liability poses a severe political problem. These Americans who have no federal income tax liability, they become natural constituents for big spending politicians. That is, if you have no federal income tax liability, what do you care about taxes? Also, if you have no federal income tax liabilities, why should you be happy about a tax cut? And matter of fact, you may see a tax cut as threatening because it might lead to cuts in your favorite handout programs. There is another side to taxes that goes completely unappreciated. According to a study by the Virginia-based Mercatus Center, in 2011, Americans spent $379 billion in tax-related accounting costs. That is, the cost of simply complying with the tax code, not paying taxes, but the cost of complying with the tax code was $360-some billion. Americans spent more than 6 billion hours simply complying with the tax code. Those hours are equivalent to a workforce of 3.4 million people, or the number of people employed by the 4 largest companies in the United States, Walmart, IBM, McDonald's, and Target. Because the tax code is so complex, it means that we are wasting huge resources on simply complying with the tax code. So along with tax cuts, along with the debate over tax cuts, simplification ought to be on the agenda.